Like I told you, gits, Orks are never beaten. Today with WAAAGH Wednesday, we're back, you gits. New meta. Is it a new WAAAGH? Now, I really think, as I've been away, you gits have forgotten on who the boys are. Because as much as the rest of the 40K community has been down and out about the data slate changes, how they were so underwhelming and such, which I can agree with all those stats and facts that they make with that uh, opinion. You guys just remember that I'm about the wall here. And in reality, as much as Orks aren't in the best spot when the end of last data slate, and we're going to look at the stats on that, and as we transition to some results and what the Orks are doing now, I still think that people kind of forget as a whole, if you're an Ork collector, how good it is to be an Ork collector as a whole, right? In comparison to other factions. Now I can elaborate on that further and such, and I probably will when we start looking at the stats and the facts, but it's not really about the few, 1%ers, 10%ers of the community necessarily all the time. Everybody else that gets results and plays what they want to play, Orks can do that best. And that's really what I mean by how we're winning in that. So excuse me as I'm wearing glasses, guys. So as WAAAGH Wednesday, we have the stats and the facts. We're going to go over that with my boy StatsUber, which is a website, sorry. Then we have honorable mentions. So I'm going to show off some gets, and then you guys are going to vote for which one of those gets actually gets reviewed on the list for the gets, the community, the live chat, etc. Remember, if you are part of the rewatch gang, you can put that in the comments as well if you see something. And then we have top player coverage. If we do, and when we do get notes from those gets, we'd like to hear it. So if you are one of those gets, make sure y'all get stuck in and let me know. So with that being said, let's move on to my boy. What I mean by that is the website StatsUber. So right now I'm just showing the general all stats of everybody real quick, because as this is set up, we only have the stats results of one weekend. So we're just looking at weapon last week, before not by weekend, excuse me, last data slate and such. Orks were sitting at 45, we'll just round to 45, 46, whatever percent, which is like the bare minimum acceptable range. You can see Grey Knights are right here in 44, and they've already broken into the yellow zone of where GW wants us to be. So I think, as most people know, if you're trying to make an actual straight run, undefeated 5-round events, Orks are not the army you would pick for that right now. But if you're just someone who likes to win games more than you lose, likes to get stuck in what you like to play with, to be honest, our codex is not as bad as you think. And what do I mean by that is, as we've been doing this WAAAGH Wednesdays and throughout the months and years at this point, right? And when we do especially introduce voting systems and such for you guys to pick, you realize that there's always that other 25, 30% of the Ork community that is guys who just play with the factions, that like the detachment and our faction, how they want to play it with. So today, for the list that I picked, we're gonna have some Dakka, right? I think I'm gonna surprise most people with, we're gonna show a list that's just straight killing stuff with making it rain on people with Dakka. And then of course you guys can actually put the votes in for that. So do I think we could do better? Absolutely. Do I think data slates were lame? Yup. Is it the end of the edition? Yup. Is that GW messing up? Absolutely. But we already know that we're the big bads of next edition. So in reality, if you're listening to this, one of the gets, you should be hobbying, you should be painting, you should be doing something in relative-ish to Warhammer if you can. If not, what's up? You're probably driving or something. But it's because we have a lot to do, right? As the gets, right? So as we're looking at this was last weekend events. Boom, Dread Mob sitting at the top. We had one of the player that was going hard with that. We're going to show them in the honorable mentions. We had a Cult of Speed list that was there. We have a Cult of Speed list in the votes as well that we're going to go over. We have Green Tide. It shows 50% win rate, but one of those gets was actually undefeated as well. So we have already, as we're looking at this, let's say you're playing Leagues of Voltan, World Eaters, Custodes, Tyranids. I guess Tyranids have like at least 2 ways to play, right? Like so many Thousand Suns, whatever, right? I could just start naming factions. For the most part, the majority of those factions are playing one detachment. I've been playing that one detachment for the most part. We already are going through just last week's results as Orks, as I've always been showing on the channel and talking about. I have how to play all these detachments that we're going over, right? I have videos on how to do them. You're not automatically going to be, 4-1 and 5-0 with it, but a lot of the concepts that we talk about are built upon showing and even people's these results that we're looking at. So Orks are, we do have obviously the Warhorde majority here though, right? Warhorde is sitting 11 players out of the last weekend, 17 players. And that's really why that perspective exists. And it's not that it's, not true, right? That's why I use the number about 30%. Of course, it's just a guesstimation off the top of my head. I'm just not a brain boy here. But there is always that odd off detachment, people playing those, and that should more inspire you than discourage you with orcs. Because if you're collecting orcs, it's going to take you a while to build up your army. It's going to take you a while to paint your models. You know, as you move into these different detachments that you can play that are kind of niched out right now in a bad way, that hopefully changes next edition. But for those who have deep collections, you know, that's kind of the reward or happiness we get to achieve by having all this stuff that we painted out. We can play multiple detachments within our codex. Or if you're someone who's growing, you can say, okay, well, I can't play those yet, but as an orc player, I know if I start developing or moving these ways, or if I watch these videos and I kind of find substitutes, I can win games with my friends and still utilize all these different models. And that's kind of what we're looking at, right? So let's give it the macro perspective, a little more positive, even though I understand why so many gits were unhappy with, you know, how everybody was doing with the data slate. Because I agree with all those gits, but I've come to expect very little from GW, right? So it is what it is. So what we also have is the hunt. So the hunt, little splash, and then the rest of the detachments. Shout out to Steven back then. You watch that video, people do make the hunt work, and you can. So be excited about the WAAAGH. So that being said, don't forget we got the paint competition coming up. So in our Discord or Facebook, whatever, you put a Morkanaut in, you got until 5/18/26. Let's go. So even if you're not a player, get stuck in, leave some pictures, and let me know what's up. It'll be great. Trust me. Don't be worried about it. No matter what level you're at, just make sure it's done and it meets the minimum, the requirements. So yeah, and then we'll look at the live chat real quick because the chat's popping off. It's been a while. You get to haven't seen you and been doing stuff. So let's move to the honorable mentions, and then I'll get stuck in with some live chats as we set up the honorable mentions. Then we'll go into the list that I picked, followed by what you guys actually want to pick after these honorable mentions. So let's start off. We have Johan from his name How to Steal. So this is like in I forgot where exactly this event was, but it is on WTC terrain, which is surprising for Cult of Speed, right? So we got a Cult of Speed list there, has its own twist that I really like. So put that one on the list. We have Nathan Blankenship, 5-1 from the Big Beef Beatdown. I did remember that as much as some of us are like, okay, we get it. Green Tide's always the same thing. He did have a cool twist on his Warhorde. I mean, say Green Tide, sorry. My Warhorde. He did have a good twist on his Warhorde list, so I kept him in the loop. But of course, as we said, there's a lot of other good gets that are out there that are doing great with Warhorde, and we all love Gaz, right? If you're wondering, can I put Gaz in a detachment? The answer is pretty much yes for just about all the detachments. Somebody somewhere can make an argument for Gaz in every detachment. Just answering that question right now. It's like one of the most basic questions I see that I feel like I can answer real quick. I love you, Gits, but trust me, Gaz can go anywhere if you really want to make him work. All right, just saying. Then we go to a crazy get over here, Black Tight. I put that on the wrong side of the 6+. Sorry, so his name's just Jack Tight. So Jack Tight is a great orc player. We've seen him on the channel before in the past, but he picked up more Dakka. Absolutely, he gets. It's not the Mark Perry archetype. He has his own variation that I think you guys would like. He went 4-1 with that at the 6++ grand tournament. So that's up for a vote if you want the more Dakka list. So that was pretty awesome. So Jack Tide is an excellent player. So if he can make more Dakka work, I'm not surprised it's someone like him. So awesome to see. Then we got Jeremy Skagger, went 5-0 at the FNF Comic-Con FM. Okay, sorry, I can't read. Comic-Con GT with the Green Tide War. Right, you guys know I like to say it around here. Say it with me. It's the rise of the Green Tide. When the meta is too elite, you guys know that orcs got to do what they got to do, right? Just bring all the boys, right? You bring all the meat. So it's like, well, enemies, you guys might have all the las cannons, all the extra special weapons. You guys better not clip me saying to me. That's stupid. But in general, right, when you have too much bodies, you're playing the mission OC, you're countering the meta with mobs and hordes. We're seeing, the Green Tide rising again when orcs are down. It's like we pull it out of like our trump card sometimes, right? It's like, I'm going 50-50 on this in every matchup, at least, boy. Whoa, right there. It's just if you got it in your back pocket, things are down and out. You're like, I'm just going to play my Green Tide, guys. I'm tired of you. Right? That's always kind of an option as an orc player, which is kind of funny and how I started 40K, but I never thought about it until people started to ask me not to play Green Tide, like in the older editions, right? Like, can you not bring the mobs that regen? So, yeah, Green Tide's sick. It's always kind of that thing that orcs can fall back to when the meta gets too skewed and elite and such. And yeah, so obviously it does take a good pilot to do it. You have to be willing to sacrifice your back for it, get the painting done with it, and actually be efficient with the clock on it. So really, shout out to all the Green Tide players that get it stuck in. So even though it's clearly, we can say on paper the meta pick. In actuality, piloting it gets great respect. So thank you for that. So check that out as we put that up for the vote, and then I'm going to go into mine. But I just wanted to look at some chats real quick. Get right here. 30-year Ork and Joy here. Good luck, everyone. It's a good investment. You can't find a set of golf clubs that'll last you 30 years. So shout out to Marcos Prime. Whoa! And that's why I wanted to put that, right? He's 30 years of Orks. Orks, and I'll tell you guys, I had a bunch of factions, and eventually I was just like, you know what? Orks are good for me. I'm not saying you guys have to do that necessarily. And thank you for your comment. You get nice to see you. I haven't seen you before on here, but nice that you joined. What's up to the rest of the gits in the chat? Yeah, going all in on Dread Mob. Yeah, whoa! And people know that okay, you guys are getting ready. There's Green Tide love out here. Right here, there we go. Suicide Gambit. It's the rise of the Green Tide. All right, thank you for that. Yeah, so you guys let me know what you guys want to do in the votes. That's what we're going on with live chat. If you're rewatch gang, leave it in the comments. Gets enough likes, I maybe just pick it the next week. It is what it is. If you're going 16 kilocans, you're awesome. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so a lot of people are excited for this. I am interested. Maybe I shouldn't pull this up already right now, but whatever. It may distract me a little bit. I wanted to give love to the chat though. Make sure that I'm not just focused on the stream necessarily, because this is live. So this is fun to see you guys are here. Chat's going up. It has been a while. You gets right. I wasn't here for a bit. So nice to see y'all coming out. So yeah, looks like okay. The votes are pretty much already pretty solid for you guys. All right. Nice to see you guys are going in. All right, make sure you get your votes in if you come in here, you guys. Now, let's move on to my list, the thing that I chose for this week. Now, there's extreme bias in this list? Absolutely. Did I do that intentionally? Yes, because I haven't been here a while. But also because I think these are good options in the voting section. And of course, we can just cover them next week, whatever it is. I feel like when we get closer to the end of this meta, we'll see a slowing down of things. And for the most part, the majority of people do like Grant War Horde lists, but I can space them out because they're kind of generally close. So I can always slip in some of these other lists. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let me take a sip of water, and then we'll move on to the list that I pick. And like I said, I went for the Dakka this week. Now, I much prefer combat. I much prefer mob armies as a whole. But there's something about the way this detachment works that unless you actually know about Orks, you don't know about this detachment, and you underappreciate it sometimes, even if you do. It's the Dread Mob. So I did pick a Dread Mob list with my boy Martin Anderson. Now, before you say, hello, this is a weird skew, WAAAGH tactics, and it doesn't have enough walkers, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, this is competitive. Was trying to go to a big event. It was a 6-round event where he was trying to get good wins. He put up very high scores in the events games that he didn't win. So there's intentionality behind this. And if you didn't want to play the skew, the videos that we have on Dread Mob can point you to how to play it without being a skew, but still playing it optimally so you can still win games, right? One of the things that's fun about here is I've also seen this put on other skews where, for example, the 1 unit of 6 kilocans is something that maybe a year and a half ago, I have a video on when I make the kilocan video. And I already back then said you can at least play one of this always in this detachment, right? And something that people always tell me is kilocans suck. They suck first when you're getting used to their sucky movement. Everything outside of that is fantastic. So as we talk about this Dread Mob list, we'll just break it down real quick. We're going to look at his matchups, all that good stuff. So shout out to this Git Martin Anders for my personal choice pick this week. We have triple Big Mac with shock attack on. Like I said, this is the Dakka detachment, right? No matter what people think about the rest of our detachments, this is the Dakka detachment. I would dare to say, even compared to Tactical Brigade, where they have a lot of shooting options, this detachment says, I'm just going to shoot you, period. Regardless if you're playing mech gun spam, Titanic, whatever, walker spam, Swampa type thing, kilocan spam, rocket spam, or Dakka spam of this variation. I've seen other ones. You've seen it throughout the years. You put flash kits in this. You can do it with mech guns, whatever. You can do it with more kilocans. So this can be skewed to your gets, but let's talk about how this actually functions so that you can make it work for you still. Because as you can see, outside of those triple shock attack guns, has 2 mechs. That is for the SWAT team, Dakka support, mobile trucks, right? We talk about them as the Dakka bunkers, whatever you want to talk about it. Did a video, top 3 Ork units. You don't know what you're using wrong. you'll see that the mech is in there. You can watch the video on how do you, and that breaks it down more if you want more information. But that's obviously going to be a concept in this because your Killican unit cannot be given +1 a hit as a unit, as the mech's ability only functions for a individual model. So you could do it to one Killican, literally one can, but that's about it. So that's obviously not their functionality. Then you have Zagrout Wartsnaga. Very cool in this detachment, as every detachment on the wall. Very unique unit. But in this one, that makes it different is he has a 12-inch reactive move, right? So when you have a 12-inch reactive move, whether it comes up or not, the enemy has to take it into account. If you go, this unit that moves 12 inches, I can reactive move it 12 inches. Does it come up only once in every 10 games? Yes. Does every opponent have to consider it? Almost, right? It depends on the matchups, but yeah, there's a good chance that something comes up like that. So not that it's going to happen, you're even going to use your CP on it, but you could. They don't know that, and they have to account for it. So that goes along the big mob. And then we go to another battle benefit of this detachment. Battle line grots. Bring 40 grots to 40 grots in the run herders, of course. So 44 bodies, 2 OC, a bunch of battle line screens, a lot of very important screens to have this detachment because of the bodies, the Dakka, the lack of ability to fall back and do things. So you do tend to bring a lot of grots, and who doesn't want a bunch of grots? 3 trucks in this detachment. Like I said, you got the mobile bunkers, so you can put 2 big mechs with shock attack guns with the tank busters into a truck with 2 flash kits, and then you can use a unit of Ludas in another truck, for example, and then just pick different firing lanes and start shooting like that. And then the other Luda unit, either you can put them up in a terrain piece and walk them to the middle objective, or put one into strategic reserve at the beginning of the game. Then you go to 3 bricks of Ludas. Like I said, you can substitute for flash kits, you can substitute for mech guns, you can substitute for more killicans. But in this case, bring a bunch of Ludas simply because they're cheap, a lot of points. And of course, you can put the mechs just onto the Ludas and give them the data sheet ability so they have access to the button. So there's a good chance that in tandem, you have your mech in the building, ready for your truck to move out the firing lane. He can give him +1 to hit from inside the building through the wall. And then when it's time for the Ludus to move out, they can move out to the middle objective, and then they still have the data sheet ability. They can act as overwatching for that middle objective terrain. So when people go to start getting those early points on area denial and such, you're like, nope, I got this 100-point Ludus unit with the mech gun on there. I can choose lethal, I can choose sustain and overwatch. That's also what makes it different than the other detachments, right? Is yeah, I can get sustain in more Dakka from the wall, and I can get it from my freebooters detachment. And I can do +1 to hit from tactical brigade, right? But in this detachment, I can choose even on Overwatch. I want sustain, I want lethal right now. My unit's gonna die anyways. It's a shitty orc unit, no defense, just some bodies, 100 points. You're gonna kill it with whatever, but I get double activations out of this, and it's on my terms. So that's the difference of this. Now, he did choose to bring 2 of them have 2 rockets, 2 have 2 custom mega blasters, have you noticed? Point of that is you get more shots with the custom mega blasters. The other guys get blast, right? And then obviously the assured damage. So it might be just WYSIWYG based off him. You choose your poison because it's all fun Dakka. Then he has 1 unit of Storm Boys and he has 1 unit of War Bikers. So just that perfect speed combo. War Bikers is just a little tougher for certain situations. Storm Boys get to objectives easier. Deep strike unit, all the good stuff. Flying mobility infantry, love it. So let's look at. So yeah, I like this. It's optimized peak spammy version archetype, but you can bring these down and make it better. Now, the one thing my boy said, there's no dreads. Yeah, there's no dreads because dreads are absolutely not good data sheets. Now, can you make them work sometimes as a crazy git? Sure. But they're just pretty bad overall. I say they work better in small games, right? But at 2K, they're just too easy to take down. So he's in 25th place here. Now, I know he got that. Oh, but it's the Liam VSL. All right. If you don't know who Liam is arguably, if not arguably, even absolutely like the best player that plays 40K in the world, right? One Worlds with CSM, I'm pretty sure, or I forgot which event of exactly with CSM and all this different stuff. So losing to him, it is what it is. He's probably one of those people who actually knows what Dread Mob is to a degree and just locks it down because he knows how to work it. So how you work it. All right, so losing to him, whatever, wash. But the rest of the other ones, good scores, everything still went well. And then he lost his last game to another spammy strong army also. So let's look at his path to victory. Put up some good scores here with a skewed Dakka variation. So we have the World Eaters, Karn, Master of Executioners, and then double Slaughterbound. One was favorite of Corn. We have is this 10 man? One, two, yeah, two 10-man units of Corn Zerkers in a one's in a Rhino. 2 units of Chaos Spawn, followed by 3 minimum sized unit of 8 bound, and then 3 minimum sized unit of Exalted A bomb. You like how I'm saying minimum? And then a Goremonger, followed by a Jackal. Pretty spammy, same thing, same thing. As you can see, that's what's going on here, right? Everybody was bringing their A game, and sometimes, sadly, 40 came with very A gamey, right? There's a bunch of videos right now that are out from like our boys Tactical Turtis, Morty, and Glory. Um, um, Aspect, people just saying, the meta's kind of figured out. It didn't change enough. That was kind of the complaints. Yeah, of course. And that's why we're seeing lists that like this. But you gotta do what you gotta do when you're going to an event and trying to win and get stuck in. Then you go into the next one is was against Liam. He was playing Eldar, which most people think isn't even good anymore, but hey, Eldar is doing great. So it is what it is when he's playing it. Solitaire, Triple Trope Masters, Stormgrading. Triple tropes or 4 tropes, I guess. 1, 2, 3. What is this? Yeah, 3 units of Dark Reapers. Sorry, I was looking at the war gear. A Falcon, a Ranger, a 4-man unit of Skyweavers, and then triple Star Weavers with triple Swooping Hawks. So if you don't know, Dreadmob's weakness is that it's slow. So if you're able to box it in, especially with like some kind of infiltration, stop the trucks from moving out, stop the cans from ever coming off the table edge, because there's a good chance that you put them into reserves in some matchups. They rapid ingress in, and they use the Archimetic Pistons so that they can re-roll their advance roll and then come in on the wall for an advanced shoot and charge. Which are all strats you can do to kill a cam brick. That's why you really just need that one big killer cam brick for your walker detachment, right? It's because it goes supercharged. Well, when you control a battlefield with this much speed, this much chaff against, we have those. Usually we're happy with our Ludas being 100 points and such. They have a bunch of small, fast units that can take contact away from you, stop you from getting to positions, pounce on your units, do really good trading while also scoring and taking over the table. And of course, it's best player in the world. So, it happens. Then we move into his third game, right? And we have going into Space Wolves, Gladius Task Force. So we got Bjorn, a lieutenant with Combi, Ragnar Blackmane, Wolfgar Battle Leaders, 2 of them, one with Honor Vehement. We have Blood Claws. Is there Ragnar in here? Yeah, there is. All right, Ragnar. I think they give her like reroll wounds when he's on there. I just like Ragnar for fun. If you guys didn't know, Ragnar came out, cut Gaz's head off, and then Gaz became even better. So we got a 5-man unit of assault intercessors with jump back, an infiltrator duo, so 2 5-man units of those infiltrators, followed by a Land Raider Redeemer, and then double repulsor executioners, followed by 2 units of head takers. So they actually brought some Dakka on their on their list. Well, that's the thing that's also really good about Dreadmob, right? They actually have built-in +1 to hit, +1 to wound. It's not +1 to hit, sorry. +1 wound, +1 damage as a strat. And then they can make stuff like killer cans reroll the entire hit roll. The whole unit. And then of course the Ludas can if you're on the objective. He had tank busters on the list as well, so the tank busters are getting sustain. And of course, they have the Ludas that have to ignore cover. So when you do take that unit out, and people regularly will move this Land Raider Redeemer onto like a middle objective, at least it's happened for me in this way. Not that everything's what happens. People move something like that on. I have my Ludas that have already come out. They've shot something. And then when they start to move into the middle objective, it's the one that ignores cover. It's even better, but you can then overwatch that Land Raider, pick lethal, your Ludas, your shock attack gun, boom, you're re-rolling the hit roll, hit a 6, smelt right through him. He can't Armor of Contempt, some free damage onto something like a Land Raider Redeemer, stuff like that for front overwatch that you can get off in this detachment as well. And then of course you have a bunch of 3 damage weapons and 2 damage weapons for like when the head takers do come out. Not necessarily that fast of an army, and once you can take the armor out, it's not really standing on much else left. But 18 points, like to see that. But Dread Mob is just like, yeah, I just got all the weapons, and then I'm still Orcs on the wall. I will just charge you, and I still have Zod, so I can still manipulate the battlefield. That's the only thing he has that's fast, but I can flip objectives on there, etc. Then we go to his fourth matchup, which was against another Space Wolf Gladius. This is a different one. Yeah. He has Arjak. Just beating up a bunch of Space Wolves. I like that. Arjak, Bjorn Fellhand, Lieutenant with combi weapon, Logan Grimnar, and then a Wolf Priest. One Assault Squad, one Basic Intercessor Squad, some Fenrisian Wolves, double Lancers, a Scout Squad, and then a 6-man unit of cavalry, followed by 3 minimum size unit of cavalry, with 6-man Wolf Taker unit and a 5-man unit of Wolf Guard Terminators. Okay, I like this variation a bit better. You know, this is not trying to do something that it doesn't do with all that Dakka. Bring in the good cheap type of units. Look at 115 points for that cavalry. Pretty solid. I think our squigs are due for a points decrease. Come on now, GW. Oh, all right, no, I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon. I know they suck at that. They suck at that job. So Lancers, obviously people are looking a little bit more towards what they got to kill with anti-tank as well. So when you're coming in here and you're like, I just got a bunch of dumb bodies, and even my stupid Killicans, because the Oblate of Wounds, because you can -1 damage to Killicans from any like 2 damage spammy weapons at range, Killicans start to just soak up a bunch of dumb anti-tank damage too. So the stuff that people are built for doesn't really have good targets in this attachment. And then also you still have the good weapons. So Thunderwolf Cavalry, yeah, normally they're T6 and they, you know, only have a 4 pinfall all the time, but you're only 1 key anyways. Your strength 8, your 2 damage on your Ludas, all this different stuff. It's like, oops, well, I got weapons for you. Hope you don't stand on an objective anytime soon. And even if you don't, there's other stuff that can kill you on the battlefield. Always still have Zod that can run up and clog the battlefield so the cavalry can't get around. So yeah, it gets pretty badass. Orcs, it's just really interesting when you play that version of Orcs that people are just not prepared for that, right? Because then Zod is like I'm going to create a bunch of space, lock down what I can't really kill right now, shoot everything else to bits. Then when my wall's over and Zod's cleared out, then I'm going to turn all my dock over there and I'll also do it over there too. So it's pretty sick, especially if you get the Killer Can combo off on there. Oof. Then we go into his 5th game, which is into the Imperial Knights. As you can know, if you're playing Dreadmon, big shells for bigger gets. You got the Dakka strat to reroll hit rolls. You're about to just make it rain here. So we got Canis Rex, Knight Atropos, Nice Lancer, and then Golden Light Knight Crusaders. So I appreciate that they are all playing big stompy knights. Really cool and intimidating to see to a certain degree. But Lancer, he has to come get stuck in. Absolutely glad about that. I would love to charge him once that it's the wall and I got my gear close in cans range. Yeah, you still actually Gatlings. He has some Gatlings. So he does have the firepower to start cleaning you up. But when they come out to play, or even if they at all, I mean, you're going to appreciate even tank busters, focus firing something down. Again, like I said, you could put the big shells for bigger gets. So most of the time you're thinking like, oh, but I'm going to do that. The combo here is then you can big shells for bigger gets, full rerolls to hit on your Killican unit so that you're +1 to wound, +1 damage. So you're shooting, you're wounding them on 4s. You're hitting them on 4s, winning them on 4s with sustain, but you're rerolling the whole hit roll. I would choose sustain because I like the peak. Like I like the spike damage. But if you're, just trying to play it safe, you can choose lethal. And of course, every hit just turns over. So that's good too, because mathematically on 4s, it's kind of like you get to kind of pick. Lethals is usually what people would kind of lean towards if they wanted more assured damage. So yeah, because the wounding on 4s, that is your determinant. But then you're just putting flat 4 damage rockets on these gets with everyone that goes through. So that's pretty sick when you get that off. Then you start the tank busters doing their thing. Then Ludas can still choose to do lethals on that. So these guys are getting taken down at will. And then, of course, you have Zod to go up there and start getting tangled in their feet, locking one down so it doesn't go somewhere, doesn't get combined activations to like kill you or pick up multiple units in one go. So Zod, very important there. That's where like a reactive move of 12 inches can come into play. Weird matchup like this where it could actually matter. Because it's not that you move Zod on the line, you just move him in like a stupid, like bubble where like you make space between all of them and utilize the 2-inch coherency, and you're like, okay, now you can't land anywhere over here to charge my Ludas. Better charge my Zod. Hey, like it's stupid. And you put your Zod in a building. If you put your Zod in a building, then the knight characters can't, precision out your character so they can't kill Zod super runs. Then they're stuck there stomping on stupid grots and stuff, and you have all your other stupid grots running around. It's freaking messed up. All right, but 17-point win there. And then his last game, most people are familiar with this kind of spammy meta list, as so it's, Custodes. So Custodes with the Guardian spam, with the some Land Raiders, and a couple witches and stuff, and some Graph Tank. All right, everybody, pretty familiar. So we have some 5-man units of Guardians, and then the 4-mans. So these are gonna be around still, even if when they get points decreases and such, they're still gonna get still kind of be around, because that's the only way they can play competitively. Be glad you're not a Custode player. I own Custodes, so I am throwing shade, but it's fine because I own them, I guess. I don't know. I don't care. So we have a Cladius Grav Tank, followed by 2 Prosecutors, then 2 Land Raiders, like I said, and then 3 units of Witch Seekers with Draxus and a basic Inquisitor. So yeah, they haven't put the points increase in on this yet, as you can see. But even with this being decreased, you can just change these 5-man units to 4-mans, and then should offset some of that cost to a degree. Maybe drop like a sister or one of these prosecutors. Their stuff, obviously, he just still had a lot of stuff. So even with getting the decrease, and even then, it was still a pretty close game. He got 8 points. If you don't know how this works, a 10-10 would be considered a draw. So he got 8, opponent probably got 12. So a great game right there that he put up right there. And of course, that's with everything here having 2-up armor saves. So that could just tell you how much the firepower still is, where even everything with 2-up armor saves and getting cover is just taking a ton of damage. You're wounding like all elite infantry on 3s in the game with pretty much all your weapons, besides your flash kits, I guess, because your flash kits are strength 6, which still wounds at least most of them on 4s, and then they have access to lethal as well. Boy, come on, guys. You guys got to appreciate this, right? All this Dakka you get from this detachment has such good strength, all 2 damage. There's no piddly fire. And you can still go on and trade all those bodies out on the WAAAGH, right? You can get into positions where you shoot and then just start declaring charges. Start throwing those guys on the fields once you know they're going to die, or they're in a position they're going to die. You want to trade bodies, and maybe you're shooting and then go off. You always have that option as well. There's still Orks, especially on the WAAAGH. But even at the end of the game, if everything's not dead because you didn't have the ultimate shooting phase, ton of bodies to still go push the objectives. So in that case, it's still an awesome list. I definitely suggest you play Dread Mob and give it a try if you like making it rain Dakka. If you want to play with other walkers, just watch the Dread Mob videos. I'll tell you how to play those best of their abilities as you can, and I'm realistic with you about it, but at least you can still try them, because I still play them for fun, so who cares? And even if you're playing this kind of skew, there's other variations of good skew you can do. So that's what we're here to encourage, right, with the Orks, is that even though the meta has been figured out, quote unquote, and the codex hasn't been out for a long time, and all this stuff that people say has truth to a degree, what's great about being an Ork is that these detachments still show success. Even the ways that they've been proven in the past, they still push through and have good results, right? Sure, maybe you didn't win all your games 5-0, 5-1. That's okay. That's you're still winning a lot more. You're putting up great scores. You're getting competitive games, and you're playing the faction how you want to play the faction, not how you've been instructed by everybody, right? I'm not here to instruct you how to play your faction necessarily, but I'm here to advise and push you and encourage you that you can play it a lot of different ways. And as I say that, shout out to our boy Martin for that. Let's get a wars in the chat for the Dread Mob. I know some people are mopey about Dread Mob that I picked it, but hey, that was one of my favorites, and some of you guys really do like it too. And as people were saying, no, Def Judge, you're right. But then you gotta let GW know that. Maybe we'll come out with a new model. I don't think so, but that'd be cool. But he needs a buff, right? He's too slow. There's a bunch of different stuff. He's like a Carnifex. How they're bad. So now we're gonna go to the vote. Hopefully you guys liked the vote that I put up. If you like the vote, let me get some Gazes and War Bosses in chat. If you didn't like it, put some runts in chats. That's fine. You won't make me mad. I got tough skin. Now get your votes in as you can. This is the live chat moment, so say what you guys got to say as well. I'm paying attention as we transition into whoever wins the live poll, because we are at that point in the video. So, yes, let's see. People were saying tested Green Tide last week. I know the detachment I'm building for. Whoa, guys in chat. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, Gits? Mostly Ghostly. What's up, Teller? Arcane saying, yeah, what Arcane? What are you working on? I seen you guys talking about hobbying and getting stuck in right now. Some of you guys are painting. Shout out to the painters, W painters, and people are putting stuff together. Make sure you guys are actually working on it, because I know some of you guys, I see you in chat. We were like, I started. Let me see you actually. Hope you're doing it right now since you stopped chatting. So what up, or what else you guys got to say you're excited for? I'm excited, dude. It's funny because I move around and play all those different detachments, and it's fun. And like, sure, did I lose to the most meta Dreadmount, like Necron version of the list? Sure, but that's like one game. I played a bunch of other cool games with my detachments. I was actually just playing spam drop. I was just playing 18 killicans in Dreadmob before the new detachment dropped, and then I started playing the new detachment, and then I got sucked into the warp, so I've been gone a little bit. But you know, and as a whole, it's like I'm still enjoying playing a bunch of different detachments besides pretty much besides Dreadmob, I guess. I mean, not Dreadmob, sorry, Warhorde. Right? If you guys know, I just personally don't play Warhorde too much, even though it's really strong. But shout out to the Gits who do, because it is in fact very strong. So make sure everything's good. Let's see. All right, let's get your votes in. Oh, looks like it's boom. Here it is. All right. Looks like the chat has spoken. All right. So as for everybody, the next list we're gonna put up, I'm closing it out now, guys. Don't worry. I'm getting prepared and pulling it up on screen. Bam. All right. So we're gonna close out the vote now. Shout out to the live gang. If you're in rewatch gang, remember you can comment on the video and then leave likes, and I might still pick it. So let's see what's going on here. For the votes, we have Cult of Speed with 20%, Warhorde with 22%. Okay, good. Thanks for the support on those, because you know, guys, I love Cult of Speed, and I promise that's a good list too. But we still got some time. You guys still vote in the future. Warhorde list 22%, so we got Warhorde love. So you guys rewatch gang. I know a lot of you guys are Warhorde, but got get representation in the live chat. You got to get Warhorde up there. Then we got Green Tide. So shout out to the Green Tide lovers. Very skewed player base there, so I'm always surprised when it gets a lot of votes. But we're seeing results where people are just winning events with them. So shout out to them. Like 40K Dirtbag, shout out to you again. And then we have more Dakka being the winner with 33%. So let's move over to more Dakka. Thank you, Ace. Fan. I'm gonna actually play with my Schnegger boss, putting them together. Oh, what's up, man? Hello from Russia. I like your streams. Well, I like you too. Whoa, that's what's up. But thanks, man, for the support. Make sure you get stuck in there, man. You get to see that they got some good green skins out there. So thanks for joining. I wonder what time it is over there. Use a later day. What's up, you guys? Random login. Instruct us. Okay. I think I have videos. I think it's instructing. Yeah, tractor cannons. Don't even start me with the tractor cannons, right? Right. Okay, Dreadmount for the win. All right, thanks, guys. Show them some support in there. No Gork and Mork. My heart is broken. Don't worry. They do all right. I'll tell you, they do all right in there. But if I play with Gork and Mork, I actually play with the Stompa. Just saying it. So the winner is our boy Jack Tight. We're gonna go on to. I think I closed it down there. Sorry, closed down the share screen capability. So I was like, why am I not have the option? All right, here we go. Boom. So here we go. We got a more Dakka list. Oops, I zoomed in too much. We should be good. Here we go. So let's look at our boys list, Mr. Jack Tight and his more Dakka list. So we have here, you guys, a odd boy horde variation of more Dakka. So you have a big mech with shock attack gun, double baby mechs, rise of the baby mechs, huh? Let's get some mechs in chat, you guys. I need you guys some mechs emojis. If you're a member, you should have an emoji for something like that. So get in there, put something in chat related to a mech. And then we have double pain boys. No war bosses, just pain boys. And then a Zagra Wartsnagger. Okay, I know you guys know what this is. If you were around during the more Dakka rise, you know that the premium version of more Dakka was Mobs of Boys. So we have two 20-man units of Mobs of Boys, right? So two 20-man mobs followed by Zagrat's mob, because you see him down here as well, right? So you got 3 20-man mobs, but then he has 2 10-man units of flash skits. That's what I'm talking about, right? Now, unlike the freebooters attachment, which pretty much isn't that good in my opinion, for 10-man units of flash skits, this detachment, though it just gives you sustain on the wall, it's fine. I actually want to assault. I want to reroll wounds, not just on certain wound objectives. I want additional AP. I want to ignore cover on my flash gets mobs. I want all that. And I don't need the wall to do it. I can use these mobs for it on other times. But of course, I have the mech, so I can put them in a truck, and then I can actually shoot out for a firing deck. And then you can actually use the truck and the detachment abilities to shoot, to still do, I think, the ignore cover ability still applies because it's just an orc unit, right? Followed by the 2 big 10-man units of flash kits. You have a small man unit of flash kits, followed by some 10 commandos, 5-man units of ludas, and then triple tank buster bricks with 3 trucks. So this is excellent hybridization of the detachment, taking the best part of the melee concept of the army, of having a bunch of boys with the ability to reroll wounds when they're standing on objectives. It doesn't have to be one designated like freebooter detachment. And then you can also actually put them in the wall, and really you're doing it for their 5-up invuln because you have pain boys attached to them. So then they're 5-up invuln, 5-up heal no pain throughout the game, playing the primary game, acting as a big bulwark, a big barrier on top of the WAAAGH unit that can go flip objectives or just harass enemies' primary home objective, possibly. On top of that, you have the commandos for the infiltration to kind of hold that presence when you get there. Before you get there, excuse me. The Ludas that can go inside of another truck because there's 3 trucks here with the flat tank buster unit, so you can still use the firing deck from the Ludas and the tank busters, and then you're still using the ignore cover and stratagem in this detachment. So assault's cool on tank busters and getting sustain on the walls cool. Ludas, it's great for that. Flash gets big deal because they're big 10-man units as well. So on the one, it's time to go. When you have this much guns, your detachment doesn't feel like absolute dookie when you're like, okay, all these guys can actually shoot their stuff. So yeah, this is awesome, right? Jack Tight really kicked it out of the park here with this detachment. How he did this is perfect points ratio on character designation. The fact that he still picked 1 shock attack gun, great job and discipline by not trying to fit a second one. I know I'd be looking at this Ludobrick and I'd be like, I can get another shock attack gun, right? I'd be trying to find another shock attack gun because they do most of the work, but they fit in the transports in that way as well for firing deck and such. So yeah, good discipline there. Awesome. I love to see it. This is a great list, and you can see he did a great job. So he went 4-1 here, and he only lost that game by 1 point from getting a draw. So that's sick at the final round. So this is an excellent pick by the live chat. Congratulations, guys. Awesome pick. I had a feeling you guys were going to pick this, though. I really did. So let's go into his path to victory. So why is always a world eater getting beat up by orcs like round 1? Why every time we do this is happening? I guess because they think they can get stuck in, right? So they think they can get stuck in with us, and we're like, hold on, we actually shoot at you while we kill you. In this situation, so we have a Demon Prince of Corn, which actually pretty good. Karn the Betrayer, followed by Juggernaut and the Slaughterbound. 2 10-man units of Berserkers, followed by a Chaos Rhino. I said Chaos Rhino. Just sounds funny. Three Chaos Spawn units, 1 A-Bound, an Exalted A-Bound, double Forge Fiends, some Goremongers, and some Eakles. That's where you're happy. You got Tank Busters, you got the Flash Kits, you got all the boys anyways. So everybody's getting stuck in. I love the fact that this whole list and how it's designed, I appreciated more when I realized how hard it was to actually get the freaking detachment, the freebooters, new freebooter crew, rerolling wounds objective off. That's so annoying. But in this detachment, boy, I can do it on my Maz boys. That's awesome. You can follow up in fights with your flash kits, with your tank busters. Those guys can get in fights and me doing cool stuff too. Obviously, you have long range shooting for these forge fiends. You can tank buster one and then jump out with flash kits and shoot them. If he puts some of these stupid chaos spawn, they go stand somewhere, try to get in a fight with you, pick the truck, you can shoot at them with it from inside the truck and still be safe. Use stratagems they want. You can pick up the jackals and the goremongers, if they come out. And then, of course, if you ever do get tagged, you can jump back in the transports from some of these units and take advantage of that so you don't get stuck standing there if you were in a fight. But when you have all these boys, you already know what's going to happen. He's going to try to get you with these Zerkers. You can't let him get the initiative on you with too many of those spawn. You have good Overwatch capability as well, and you're moving actually forward in this one. So I love that. And Jack pulled that off with the 15, right? Careful, but a good one. Careful, but a good one. They just kind of run out of stuff when you actually have that combined arms because you're like, I'm going to just do everything to you. Mind you, still have Zod, right? Still have Zod. Don't sleep on Zod because world leaders hate what you can do with Zod. Then you have Necrons with the Canoptic Court. So we have a barrage, barge. Gosh, can't read. We have a Catacomb Barge, a Chronomancer, Luminor, Caesaris. I get so frustrated. I think this is him. Yeah, I think this is the guy that's like the infantry. No, he's not. I don't remember. The guy that's the 4+ feel no pain guy, whatever he is. Man, we have Zods. We have Maz still in this shitty form. Whatever. The new character before he got his points increase, which still he's undercosted. Orc and the Diviner, and then the Royal Warden. Royal Warden slept on because one of the big weaknesses to 20 warriors and just Necrons as a whole, typically when they're not in their altered OP form or whatever, is touching them because they're kind of like, okay, when I touch, I can't fall back and do shit. But when they got the Warden, they actually kind of make up for that. So it's a different list, but it has some good functionality. We have an Immortal unit followed by 20 warriors. Play that mid objectives. You got the boys versus the Krons in the mid table. I love that. That's like my old matchup. We got a Ghost Ark followed by triple Canoptic Doom Stalkers, one Reanimator, and then triple Swarm Bricks with double Spiders. Definitely gonna appreciate. I always appreciate my flash kits in this kind of matchup, just because Necrons don't have good armor saves on like their light armor. Sorry, they had a good toughness on their light armor, and then they really do take some chipping from our weapons, right? So at least all our weapons are like winning on 5s, like the guns of the flash kits, for example, instead of 6s. They're not going to be taking 2-up armor saves. You can take them out. Get into fights with these stupid swarms is no problem for boys or any of those guys. I'm re-rolling wounds. It feels awesome when you can do that into big warrior bricks. You do have to worry about getting like your character assassination. You can hide those in terrain. The fact that you are assault means you can actually get into range and shoot at him and do certain things. Possibly try to bring down that character if he tries to be too disrespectful. Because how many destroyers does he have? I wonder if any of these units have like destroyer cult to give them the loan out, but yeah, I'm not sure if those do. But good one there. He got a big 20 point there. Then we go into his third game. What's up, chat? I see you guys. It was against Adeptus Custodes. We got a Blade Champion, Trajan Valoris, 2 units of Guardians. One is a small man, one is a big 5-man. Double units of Alaris Terminators. One is a 2-man, one is a 3-man. Gravis Tank, 5-man units of Wardens, followed by double Prosecutors, double Venatari, a Witch Seeker, Clades Assassin, and Kyra Draxus. So not the meta cheese of Land Raiders and just Guardian spam, just good old-fashioned Custodes getting stuck in, one advance and charge guy, some elite infantry and such, but that's not gonna, typically they need more stuff to chew through that many points and activations and boys. And the one thing Custodes would hate if boys can re-roll wounds with the amount of punches they have with just 1 AP. So that's not going good for them. And then you're actually glad that you can strip cover when you're shooting at them. You can give yourself additional AP when you're shooting at them. That would be awesome on your flash kits who like to shoot at Custodes, tank busters. A little bit of Ludus, but they won't do it. But within transports, right, they have to now account for the transport, stripping cover, and then shooting at them. A truck shooting at one of these custode units and then just picking them up because they have tank busters in it. Oh, right? That's what they have to account for in this kind of matchup. So that's pretty awesome. Then we go into his 4th matchup, and he got a 17-point win there. So then we go into his last matchup, which was a close game. Goes into the Leagues of Holton. So we have double Evaluator. What is this guy? A real estate agent? What the heck? We got triple calls, a strategist, and Utark the Dustin. We have 1 warrior squad, followed by a carrier and a Sachitar. Look at those boys. You got 2 little transports. I want a different kind of transport, guys, to be honest. I know this sounds kind of greedy, but I kind of want like a tougher one or less tough one. I don't really know. What would it be? What would be another transport? Like we used to have one in the track, right? And the track was like a little tougher and stuff. Yeah, why'd GW take that from us? It's kind of annoying. Then we have double Thunderkin units with the Graviton Blast Cannons. Only 2 5-mana units of the Zerkers. Kind of surprised they're not more Zerker leaning. But they are a little baby Termy leaning. So the one thing about these guys is these guys do really mess up Orc Boy mobs, right? So typically I'm really fan like, oh, Orc Boys can last long stuff. Trust me. Between their grenade launchers, and then I think this unit can get sustained too. And then if you're on objectives, I believe they get like other buffs like reroll hits or no reroll wounds. I think it is on there. They get +1 to hit. They get like a bunch of different buffs that they can stack on that on your boy mobs. And your boy mobs are giving blast to all their grenade launchers. So you're giving all of the grenade launchers that many shots. So when they stack the right buffs on it, one of these units can cripple or straight up pick up a 20-man unit of boys. So that's going to be a distinguishing like big factor in the game. Of course, you want to be able to get your Mandos down first, but he has Pioneers, three units of Pioneers and a Jaeger unit, right? So you do want your because typically how Leagues of Votann work still kind of is, they create like the little bubble, they can push their infantry like Jaegers out or whatever. Little transports can come out, maybe some warriors do some stuff, they get some shots off you from their armor. They can choose to make a barrier of trash with their infantry, like I said, from disembarking and doing that stuff. And then they drop all their big, bricks of termies and such, or they disembark from their big tanks. And then they countercharge you with the berserkers, right? So it's a very much like I meet you in the middle and we bang it out type of thing. But when they can drop and just straight up break your nose in the fight, which would be like picking up mobs of boys, it makes the fight much harder. The good thing about that is that they're relatively slow. So if you can kind of break the distance on them, win those skirmish engagements to push them out so they don't push out as far, they can still be tabling you, but there's a chance that you can hold on the point and or have killed enough of them, which might be in the case in this way because he still has to kill like all the flash kids. He has to kill Zod. And you have tank busters, so he can't just disrespect you with his tanks and such. So this would be an excellent game, and it was 11 points there. W there on his end, so awesome. And then we go into his last matchup where he has Death Guard, where he lost by just by 1 point here to Death Guard Virtuous Vectrum. So you have Biology Putrefier, Demon Prince of Nurgle, that's the little mini Morty, followed by Malignant Plaguecaster and Morty, and a Tallyman. That's something that I worried about in this attachment. Killing tough stuff. Right? I could only lean in tank busters, and they can only do their thing when I call a WAAAGH. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, then I can reroll wounds if you're on an objective, if I can hit you enough. That's, from what I remember, that was one of the things that kind of was like, because you want, yeah. So anyways, I'll talk about that more. We have 10 unit of Plague Brains, pretty solid unit in the Rhino. Of course, they use a little firing deck with their big pro special weapons in here that can work pretty good. Big unit of the Blight Lord Termies, good amount of punches and shots, and then they lower your toughness so they can actually do a good combined arms factor on your boys normally. Like normally you're like, oh, those bolters are trash. Like, okay, but if I'm winning on 4 of the bolters, right? So it's a close game though, as you can see on the point. So it's not just throwing it. I'm just saying it's a good game. We have Chaos Spawn, triple units of the floated bloat drones. Right. So if you can lock these down with your boys Zod or something because they don't have blast, cool. But when they have big bricks of termies that can heroic, or the demon, maybe baby Morty do some stuff, it's like hard to kind of lock some of these dudes down. And then 2 units of Poxwalkers, just enough to create a little bubble. And then 1 Chaos Spawn. Sorry, I said that. So strong, kind of weird, very strong into this version of Orks, and obviously to even get to this point, this player was optimized with it. So pretty sick stuff here. But yeah, good matchup overall. Just the factors are Blight Spawns actually do have the volume to kill mobs of boys too. Typically, Death Guard can struggle with that with some of their other builds sometimes. Dropping your toughness would matter. They can get a good blast on their block launchers, and they're able to actually kill. When I mean good blast, I mean like into your flash get units, right? Because they're actually picking up 2 wound models in that case. It's like, oh, okay, that would be pretty tough. As well as your big, Bricks and Marines have good activations as well into them. And you just always got more Tarion plus the baby Nurgle Morty is what I like to call him, right? So it's a well-rounded list, and depending on the mission, and you can see just 9 points. Very good showing by Mr. Jack Tight. Let's go over his list one more time for what the chat picked. where we have more Dakka. So we have Big Mac with Shock Attack Gun, double mechs, and then double Pain Boys, followed by one Zograt, 20-man unit of boys, two big 10 units of Flash Kits, one big brick of Grats, followed by a little Grat unit, one Mandel unit, some Ludas, triple tank busters, and then triple trucks. So Jack, as I said, he was obviously more aware than me. I'm not going to say equal, but he was very much showing that he was aware that toughness is a factor. Even though we can all agree and we all know that tank busters on their own and just they're a little too overcosted, they're quite unreliable, all this stuff you can say. And a lot of the time, if you're playing with them, you know who really does the work is the Shock Attack gun. So, as I was kind of alluding to, it'd be hard for me personally to not pay for the Shock Attack gun. Maybe Jack can give us feedback and say like, "No, I should have paid for it," or whatever. It wouldn't have mattered. But the only reason why that's an argument is because his detachment can struggle into tough stuff. So he brought 3 tank busters, kind of offset that toughness factor of stuff, and I appreciate that. Nonetheless, you can't win them all, and that was an excellent, not all the time, right? You can't always win them all, but were all close games that I'm sure you could have won them all. So excellent list. Great take on more Dakka to modify it, to modernize it, to kind of pick up what it kind of had skeleton of with the boy mobs and still being able to swing them into the wall, but then also still having fun mobile trucks so you can use firing deck and the mech doing +1 that hits. You can have early game kind of exchange shooting, and then when people kind of close the distance, you declare a full wall, move Zod with the boys. Then they can keep activating wall if you have the CP, and you can keep their toughness. You can keep scoring primary while the units kind of shoot. And take advantage of the sustain. So the advantage of the assault. So there's a lot here, and I'm sure it's even more in depth and options to play with the more you get reps with it into certain matchups. So a lot of love to Jack Tight. Great job on the live chat for voting for this one. I had a feeling you guys would, but of course, if you've seen other good stuff on there, make sure you guys vote or you leave it in the comments about that. And thank you very much, Jack Tight. And shout out to the honorable mention gets. Honorable mention gets, so I'll make sure you guys give them some love and let me know in the comments. Shout out to Rick B5 for Wall Tactic membership. Whoa, yeah, thank you very much for that. It helps a lot. It means a lot to me. It's always very, very humbling in that. It's nice to see you, Rick B. The wall, I got shot through the warp, and man, the wall was getting low energy, right? So thank you for that. That's a good love and helps to a great wall. And hopefully we can bring it back, right? As making a bunch of content, feel like the stuff we're getting stale, feeling bad for the wall. But also, when people would see the content of just like the 40K community, a lot of it was kind of poo-poo. And it's kind of easy to be like poo-poo with Orks, especially when you watch other channels and people are realistic. Never gonna say they're just talking smack for no reason. They're realistic that Orks are difficult to be successful with. And though I'm realistic with you that you're going to have to actually work for it, understand your army, get reps in, some of the models, whatever the context I give it to make it make sense. I also do encourage that there are styles and ways you can play it. And that's something that our internal faction is actually balanced and across detachments is, yeah, there might be overlap in the units I'm choosing. And so it always feels same-ish in some detachments. But all in all, I was looking at the honorable mentions, I was looking at the stuff we've covered before. There's always a bunch of cool stuff you can do with the Great Green. And as we move into the next edition, we can talk about that and what we hope to see, right? So Ivan, everybody else has put out their videos, all got their clicking going to follow things and play the algorithm. And I get it. And you guys heard a lot of the same opinions. And I was in the warp. So now that I'm out, we're going to hear my opinion. We're going to talk about it, right? Some I'm going to give takes on that I agree with, some that I might give my own and kind of expand on them. So I'm pretty excited. So that's this Friday. Make sure you guys get stuck in. And thank you, Rick B, because gets like you are the reason why we do it. And we can do it. So yeah, I'll be giving my assessment, of the Great WAAAGH, what everybody has to say. So make sure you guys tune in for that on Friday. And shout out to the Rewatch gang and everybody that's here. Let me look at you guys who's still around a little late today. Shout out to the paint competition. Make sure you guys are part of the paint competition. What's up, Ace Tinker? Whoa. Yeah, I have my opinions. What do you think? We'll get big set of units, right? All this different stuff. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that Orks can get, built on, and they can replace with the models and different concepts they can take. I think the whole edition can introduce a lot of new ways that you play with Orks just because we've seen it from Age of Sigmar. So there's a bunch of cool things that I think I can scrounge together into conversation other than the same old things you've been hearing. And you know what? I'm going to show you guys. Ooh, Oh, you guys are lucky I didn't do it today. I might do it because you guys are still here, just because I feel like doing it. But uh, we've all heard. You guys, let me know to who's in chat. How do you guys feel about the new orc model, the new orc war boss? Right? How do you guys actually feel about it? Because I know there's people back and forth, and I think the orc community, as much as people say it's like, oh, that's cool or whatever, it has cool representation. The grot's absolutely sick. I think it's absolutely sick too. But if you're a real greenskin, right, you know what the orc community has been saying about that model for the most part. And as much as I hate to be that guy, right, like, does he not look like he has a little bit of an arm that's a little small in that power claw arm? Huh? I had to do it, you guys. I had to do it for the wall. Whoa! Sorry, I had to fun with it. All right, I had to put that on chat. So if you didn't look, that was me. All right, that was what I mean. But shout out to Rick B because I did it for you. And I did it for my boy Arcane. Damn, it's been 16 months already. Yeah, man, the thing channel's like 2 years old. I mean, we're pretty big, but for relatively speaking, for most skits and stuff, how this thing goes, right? But yeah, I mean, Link Channel's like 2 years old, and we've been around for like the majority of the time, pretty much all the time. So thanks you to you get, and yeah, we'll see what it is going to a new edition, right, with the channel. So that's pretty cool, and to think about it in that way, how can I actually improve it and make content more worth it and better and bring more value to it, and also help you gets right. I get to kind of redo all the videos in a cool way, hopefully. So yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, it's been 16 months. You do that. The wall's been growing. Hopefully we get to 10K. That'd be good though. Sometime soon. Somehow. I don't know why I jumped 2K in my mind, but I just got hope that like the algorithm picks up or like because we're gonna be the big bads. But I guess I gotta play the algorithm game a little better, huh? Shout out to Cringe Detector 556. Well, if you're here then and you're doing a $5 super chat, I assume I'm not cringe. Or maybe I'm so cringe that you've detected me and you've appeared. Flash gets truck versus tank buster truck. What is your opinion on it? I think, well, first of all, I think the best truck is shock attack gun, tank buster, plus 5 flash gets, and then you have the mech, right? Boom, that's one of my favorite. I brought it in multiple different detachments. I brought a cult of speed support, just like because I brought more guns for my cult of speed. I brought that combo as a package for support, like as a tough thing. So I mean that combo itself works in more Dakka, works in almost any other detachment that wants to do combined arms as like a firing supplement to it. As for like 10 flash kits or like 2 6-man tank busters is what I think you're saying. I think flash kits without a leader have more versatility, but if you're bringing a 10-man, your strats should kind of represent that you're going to get enough value out of them as a 10-man, right? So it's not that I'm always going to use a 10-man strat, like a strat on the 10-man flash kit unit, because I don't know the game size and everything you're playing on. It's like, yeah, but I want the option, right? Like, so even if I play Warhorde, for example, flash kits can still 10-man flash kits can still go hard in all those strats. That's why 10 still work if I was to take it in the detachments. Unlike tank busters, where it's like I bring 12 tank busters. Those guys aren't taking advantage of any of those strats in Warhorde, and then I kind of just hope they do what they do, right? So leaderless tank busters aren't really my thing. But if I am bringing them in a truck and I have a mech, it's kind of like a leader. I can kind of shoot them out. In that case, you're getting blast firing deck off the truck, getting the mech for +1 to hit off that. So that's like a actual threat to lead infantry. So like if I just want to lead infantry, like put in danger and threaten, then mech plus the 12 tank busters, the mech jumps out, you get stems next to it, pokes the truck standing there doing blast, and you're looking at custodes and you're like, hey, if you stay on that line, I can get blast. I guess not now because they're not playing 5-man units, but whatever. If they were playing 5 and then like Kyra Draxus or whatever, right? Or 4 and then Draxus, then it's like, okay, then I can get blast, I can shoot you, it's gonna be -1 AP, and then you got cover, you can take 3 up saves, but all these are 3 damage. Winning on 3s, hitting on 4s, all 3 damage. So it's like, it depends on what you want to shoot. And then, of course, like I just went over, you got the more Dakka detachment. You can actually put strap buffs on them on the truck for firing deck. So that can be incorporated too. So what's better? If I'm playing as like a general support unit, not specific to any matchup or anything, I'm just saying what's in there. A truck full of flash kits better for like if there's a mech next to it, you have +1 to hit. A tank bus is better if there's like elite infantry I'm trying to counter and a mech's giving +1 to hit. But the best truck is 5 flash kits plus 6 tank busters, and then tank busters generally have a character, or you generally have a character mech around that truck and it's shooting. So yeah, so I like all that, and it was worth $5 to expand on that because that's a legit answer for like everybody overlooks. So it's a good question by you. Because everybody overlooks that that's actually our shooting, and in a weird way, it's kind of like our truck tank, even though it's kind of soft. It's like a light armor, high volume damage shooting platform, and not the most reliable. And people will complain about that, but the threat, so that in those matchups, you could tell people like you can't just disrespect me and stand on the lines. I can move this up like Space Wolves, Thunderwolf Cavalry, right? Oh, this truck can move up, and I have all these flash hits, or the tank busters. You know, it's like, well, I'm winning you on 4s, but each one is 2 damage anyways. It's like there's a bunch of stuff you can do that, right? So it's like it's a good question, and it is your firing support, and I hope I elaborated on it enough. But you can pretty much alternate and pick both, and even in other detachments, you can pick both, and having the right support around it makes it even better. But thank you for that. I appreciate that cringe detector, and I assume I'm not cringy because of that. So thank you very much. It's very generous, and I appreciate the love. And yes, the paint competition's up. You better get stuck in there. Let's see. Um, I'm hoping the stock angle is just tough. I don't know what you're talking about. Oops. The boss used some work. I'll definitely. Okay, you guys are talking about painting. All right, cool. Well, shout out to you guys. For everybody in the chat, we're all excited about what's coming. Join me Friday. I'll maybe do an extra long stream for the gets. Make sure you got the WAAAGH going. You guys are going to show up. Make sure you leave comments and likes on this video. I'll do an earlier stream so we can go longer and get more people involved. And then I'm going to be like, Morty and Glory, I have a 5-hour stream. No, I'm just kidding. That's going to take a while. All right. But for you guys, thank you for being here. It's glad to be back. It's a late stream, but it was worth it. With that being said, there's only one thing to keep in mind. It's don't cross the wall because we'll knock your teeth out. Whoa.